Lawrence Gendreau, 35 years of age, a homeless man, has been sentenced to 25 years in prison for a terrible attack on a 6-year-old boy who has not been named, in which this scumbag ran up to the boy who was waiting outside of his grandparents' home with his older brother in Queens, New York. This scumbag ran up to the boy yelling and screaming. He grabbed the 6-year-old boy, lifted him above his head, and then slammed him onto the sidewalk head first. Can you imagine the 6-year-old boy waiting for the pizza delivery guy with his elder brother, minding his own business, and then all of a sudden this absolute psychopathic weirdo, Lawrence Gendreau, 35 years of age, charges up to him, yelling, grabs him, lifts him up, and then slams him back onto the sidewalk head first. A terrible, barbaric attack, which left the 6-year-old boy with fractures in his skull, as well as a collapsed lung. Thankfully, the 6-year-old boy survived. Lawrence Gendreau, who has a history of mental illness, was arrested and charged back in October 2019. He was convicted by a jury last month, and again, thankfully, he's now been sentenced to 25 years in prison. He was found guilty of a number of charges, but the most important being attempted murder in the second degree. We're told that this scumbag Lawrence Gendreau had already approached an 83-year-old woman earlier in the day and snatched her iPad. He was arrested for that incident. He was charged with assault, but as far as I understand, and the Daily Mail article that I've gone through isn't 100% clear, but as far as I understand, he was released the very same day. That's right. He ran up to an 83-year-old woman, snatched her iPad, he got charged for assault, and then seemingly he was released that very same day, at which point he ran up to a 6-year-old boy, lifted him up above his head, slammed the boy down onto the sidewalk, leaving that boy with 2 fractures in his skull as well as a collapsed lung. This article doesn't tell us the condition of the boy, but I do hope and pray that he has made a full recovery. So I've got to ask Queens Police, why the F did you release this guy? He's clearly a psychopath. He's clearly suffering from mental illness. We're told that he's been diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Could you not have institutionalized him? Could you not have put an order on him such that he had to either remain in jail or in a mental institution of some kind? I guess not. I guess the limitations of the Queen's authorities are such that these criminals are to be released on the street time and time again. Lawrence Gendreau was a homeless man, mentally ill, diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. He had a history of violent criminality. He was, by all accounts, a ticking time bomb. He had been charged for multiple assaults on random people. He had threatened to take the life of other people. In an ideal world, and the world is far from being ideal, but in an ideal world, you would hope and expect that somebody like this, we can call him a scumbag, we can call him a weirdo, we can call him a psychopath, we can point to the fact that he's clearly mentally ill, whatever label we're to use, for the safety of society, he needed to have been removed from society, meaning put in jail, put in prison, put into a mental institution, whatever it happens to be, but taken out of society, given that he was hell-bent on causing harm. Nothing was going to stop that. His behavior wasn't about to improve. His mental illness wasn't about to evaporate. Again, homeless, so he's got no job, presumably. He's got no finances. He needed to have been taken out of the system, and by that I mean institutionalized. In jail, in prison, in a mental institution, whatever it happens to be. And it failed to happen, and I think this is what we've got to look forward to in the West. I don't live in Queens, New York. I don't live in America. I'm not meaning to blame them solely, the area of Queens solely. It's all over the West this situation is occurring, and perhaps all over the world, I don't know. We don't have the funds, the resources to institutionalize everybody, and we're too civilized to put people into inhumane conditions. Everything's got to be sanitized. If we're to institutionalize somebody, then we've got to throw all kinds of resources at them to make sure that they're receiving every last luxury. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but ultimately, be it a prison, be it a jail, be it a mental institution, there are so many standards and requirements that everything's a huge expense. All of these facilities have to have hundreds of staff, trained staff, doing dangerous, difficult jobs. They got to be paid well. Nobody can do this for free. And with that, you've got huge expenses. So yeah, there are cracks that are formed, and the authorities, the police, just don't have the resources to be able to incarcerate those people that perhaps need to be incarcerated. So what can we do about that? Not a lot. We just got to get used to it, I think, because I don't see how things are going to improve, frankly. We got worldwide global recession aggressions on the horizon by the look of it. I mean, by the way, I don't know what I'm talking about. We got World War III really on the brink. So a month or two back, we were worried about Russia and Ukraine, but now that's kind of been pushed to the background. Much more urgent threats are on the scene right now. Israel being threatened by Iran, Syria, Jordan, Egypt, wherever else. We're on the cusp of World War III. I mean, it might well happen, but I guess it's fair to say that I've gone on a bit of a tangent there. My point is, we just don't have the facilities, the resources to adequately protect society against the dangers of the mentally ill. So we've got to get used to this because it's not going to go away. Again, we're told that the 6-year-old boy did survive, but really that's all we know. We're not told of the boy's condition. We're not told if he's made a full recovery, but of course I do hope that is the case. I'm going to wrap things up at this point. If you appreciate the coverage, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video as you see fit. If you're in a position to join my memberships, please do consider doing so. If you're in a position to drop a super thanks, that would be great. But of course, it's fine if you're not. So I'm going to thank you for your time and take care.